Mhm. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Constance, and I have with me Kyle here, or actually, he's on this side. There we go.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yep, I'm so excited about having him on here today. So I'm just going to read a little bit about him just so that we have a little bio about this amazing person that I have here today. So this is Kyle Woodland. He is from Philly, so that's good, native right there. So Kyle is, it says aspiring model, but he is, or aspiring actor. He's an actor and a model, a former semi-pro soccer player, which I thought that was really cool when I learned about that.
Mhm.
Um, yes, so I have here that it says that you have lived your entire life on pretty much the autism spectrum, and but through those things that you have overcome, you've secured national TV commercials, been
Yep.
featured in online advertisements, been
Yep.
in Grammy nominated music videos, and I love J Balvin. When I saw
Oh,
that,
you do?
oh, I know who that is. That's my guy. That's,
Yeah.
um, and the most recent one here is the Adam Sandler's film that came
Mhm.
out in June, Hustle.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you are a very busy man.
Yeah.
A very busy man here. So I'm very excited to have you on here and for you to pretty much, explain some things about yourself, have people learn some things about you. And I know that you're a huge advocate and a person who's just here to teach other people, like myself, things that people don't know about autism. So thanks for being on, Kyle.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's a great opportunity, and I'm definitely glad to be on here. So, thank you so much, and I'm really looking forward to this. Thank you for the introduction as well.
Yes, thank you. So a little bit about yourself. How old are you, Kyle?
I am 27, so turned 27 on August 29th, and 27 years going strong. So yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to put your age out there because everything that I've named and on the list, which I'm pretty sure you've done other things because when you're in those fields, you're always doing kind of other projects that you're probably not even naming.
Yep.
So that's a lot that you have accomplished in 27 years.
Mhm.
So yes. So if you want to tell our viewers just a little bit about yourself.
hmm Yeah. Wow. Where to begin? Where to begin? Pretty much just like what you said, when I was pretty much, I think, 4 years old, I was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, pervasive developmental disorder, ADHD, the whole nine yards. It's definitely been a long struggle. I wasn't even really supposed to make it as far as where I am right now. A lot of doctors and people who diagnosed me with those disorders thought that I wouldn't even be able to talk, let alone talk in complete sentences or do anything that the average person was able to do. However, I didn't take no for an answer. My parents didn't take no for an answer. Went to a lot of speech therapy, worked extremely hard, and really just threw myself into every activity that I could. And I'm thankful to God and all the support systems that I've been able to have throughout my life. I first started playing soccer. My grandfather, who died when I was 8 years old, he taught me the game of soccer, and he was from Barbados in the Caribbean. So my first love was soccer. I wasn't even really into modeling or acting or the entertainment industry, so I really wasn't even into that. And I'm really surprised how I got into it, to be completely honest. Yeah.
You're gonna have to tell us. I mean, you should tell us how you stumbled into that then.
Yeah, so it was during COVID. COVID was a really rough time. Was definitely going through some heartbreak, a relationship, problem. And, during COVID, when you're dealing with that and everything else, that's already hard enough to begin with. But, when everything was slowing down, I'm like, okay, what can I really get into? And I've always had friends that modeled. I had a cousin that modeled, and I was always interested. I'm like, you know what, maybe I should get into this. because my semi-pro soccer season was canceled. So, nobody was playing soccer, nobody was doing anything. Everything was just canceled and postponed indefinitely. So, yeah, I got into modeling. I signed with my first agency, Mainline Models and Talent Agency, Glen Mills, and it just took off from there. And from there, I threw myself into anything that I could do, whether it was photo shoots, whether it was acting or acting classes or acting auditions, anything I could do, I did. And everything was virtual at the time, so you really couldn't do anything in person. So that's really basically how it all started. And ever since then, it took off, and I'm still surprised about it to this day. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm glad you told that story because I would have had no idea that what you've been doing started from COVID, which was, I guess, 2020 pretty much.
Yep, yeah, 2020. It was late 2022, because I didn't really get into. I started in 2020 in January. Took a little hiatus, to deal with a lot of personal, emotional things going on in my life. So I really started in, like, I would say late 2020. And my first modeling, I think my first modeling show was in late September at Atlantic City Fashion Week. And my first project off the bat was the movie in Adam Sandler called Hustle. And then I got the J Balvin music video casting right afterwards. So, I really kind of fell right into it, but it happened late.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that was your first movie. Wow.
Yeah, happened so fast, man.
I mean, I guess it's because of all the things you said that you did, though, which was really put yourself out there. You didn't put a limit on yourself.
No.
And it seems like your parents never put limits on you. And that's something that you've taken with you and that you're teaching people as well with just everything
Yep.
that you're doing.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a firm believer in putting yourself out there. I wear my heart on my sleeve. So, what I really try to do, I'm open about everything and I'm open to every opportunity. And I feel like that's a good attitude to have, not only whether you're in the entertainment industry, but also in life. You don't want to limit yourself.
Yeah.
So, that's really what I try to do, and that's really what I stand for.
Yes, I love it because I feel like you are definitely preaching right now to a lot of people that need to, that need to hear it because I know I need to hear that too. So we're gonna go on to our next question. What does having autism mean to you?
Having autism, to me, I don't really look at it as a disability. I do look at it as a spectrum, because a lot of people, when they look at autism, they really look at the stereotype where you're lower functioning and you can't talk and you're, mentally and sometimes physically disabled. And, what I really look at it as, I look at it from the facts, is that it's a spectrum. It's like a rainbow. It's not a one size fits all kind of situation or kind of, disorder. And I don't look at it as a disorder, even though that's in the name. I really look at it as a benefit, because one of the brightest and most talented people that I've met have been on the autism spectrum disorder. And it allows you to see things from a different perspective and different vantage point, which other people who don't,
Yeah.
or who aren't on the spectrum are able to see it from. So, I look at it as, it's something that you deal with day to day, but it has a lot of advantages. It gives you a lot of creativity, especially, in my situation. I feel that it gives me a lot of creativity, a really unique way of looking at things. And even though it takes me longer to process things and catch on to things, I think a lot of people with autism, once we get it, we're better at it than the average person. And we have more of a passion to it. So, you know, it allows me to be very passionate in anything that I'm doing and anything that I'm pursuing.
Yeah, I agree with that because I feel like what you said, I've said where, I'm pushing the school for the public school for autism, which I'll just
Mm,
put that up there. And this is what I said they're afraid of. I'm like, if they actually have a public school, like with everything there for children, that, instead of the therapists coming in, they're already there. Everyone
yep.
kind of knows what's going on. The meals cater better. I'm like, I feel like they're afraid that these children would super exceed, I
Yeah.
guess, like regular public school children. And that's
Mhm.
really why we don't have these places, because then we'd be like kind of creating geniuses.
Yeah,
like
yeah, I definitely agree. You know, everybody is afraid of something that's different.
yeah,
And, you know, a lot of people don't want to see change. You know, people say every day that they want to see change, but, you know, not a lot of people really live by that standard. And, you know, I feel like what you're doing is very crucial and very valuable because, you know, a lot of people really need to be able to see the other side. They need to be able to see the potential that people on the spectrum or or people that have different other mental health variety of issues going on, and I really feel like if you just open yourself up to seeing things from a different perspective, it can really open doors for other people. People really, there needs to be more awareness around the area, not just in mental health but in general. So yeah.
yeah, I agree. And actually, to share a little bit of something with you, my mom worked in a mental health. Well, I think she worked in a couple of different mental health places, but she worked in a mental health practice when I was younger. So I used to go to her job after school, and there was like kind of a home where she was at, and she would take some of the adults there out to eat, and I would go with them.
Right.
So for me, I've always grew up around people who were different. So even looking at autism for me, I'm just like, well, this is just someone that's a little different. Like, and looking back at my life, I'm like, well, I guess these adults probably had autism, but I didn't look at them like, I didn't look at
Mhm.
them. I just knew that they had to do things differently to get through, but it wasn't something that like I was scared of or afraid to learn more of. And I feel like that has probably helped me now really see
Mhm.
a lot of different people for how they are. And, everyone's different at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure it has. I mean, you're doing great yourself, and I appreciate you supporting the cause. I'm all about supporting causes. And, I mean, I'm sure it has, just like it helped you. It can help other people, if they give themselves the opportunity to open themselves up to something new and understanding it. So,
oh,
yeah.
yes, I love it. And just so you know, a lot of the things you're saying, you can put them on t-shirts and and sell
Oh
them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna do that. I have a clothing brand named after my show, the Kyle Woodland Show, and we have T-shirts. We have different types of clothing with slogans of autism and other messages on there. So yeah, I'm definitely I have a brand that's supporting that as well. Yeah.
Yes, I love it because I definitely want to promote your YouTube page as well. So it makes sense though that you're doing the clothing because just your energy is very, it's good that you're doing that. I love everything
Oh,
that you're doing as well. So
I
we
appreciate that.
support each other, I see. And
Oh
you've
yeah,
been,
yeah. You always got to support each other. It all starts with support. Yep.
yeah, and I appreciate it because I mean we've been in contact since April, so I'm glad that we finally been able to,
Yeah.
do this. And I know in the
It's
future,
been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming.
yes, and this isn't going to be the only time. I'm sure we'll meet in person. I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll be doing things together, hopefully collaborating as
Oh
well
yeah,
on some
for
stuff.
sure, for sure. Yep, yep. I look forward to that.
Yeah, I can't wait till you can meet Austin. Um,
Mhm.
okay, so let's see. What could people have done or said to you to make you feel like more supported in school or socially? So I know your parents, you said your parents were already very supportive, but how the outside world to you, how was that experience?
It was really rough. There were a lot of, yeah, I would say, it was almost like a fluctuation where, it would be good at times, and then, a lot of times it would be bad. It would bring you to incredible highs, and it would also bring you to incredible lows. To the outside exterior world, it was rough because not a lot of people were sensitive. Not a lot of people were supportive. There are a lot of people in this world that are not kind-hearted like you, that are very mean-spirited people. And then there's some people that just simply don't understand and don't want to accommodate others that are different. And it was rough. It was really rough at times. My experience really varied. When it came to school and education, when I was in private schools, it was different because I was around people that were more like me. But even in those private schools, sometimes people weren't really understanding, and they would exclude me sometimes. In public schools, it was I guess when I was in middle school, it was rough. A lot of people weren't understanding, a lot of teachers weren't understanding, and there weren't a lot of supports. I did best in a smaller class where you would be able to have people that would be able to give you more attention if you didn't understand something. It's much easier if you're in a class where a teacher would be able to come to you and help you if you don't understand something. But if you're in a really big class, no teacher is going to be able to give attention to every single student. So, it's going to be tough. I know that I benefited better from being in a class where the teacher would actually be able to come on, to really be able to help me one on one and be able to give me more of that one on one support. So in the classroom, I would say that it was a bit rough because I was in big classes where the teacher wasn't able to give me support. Outside of the class, it was really rough because then we're just talking about the real world, and the real world is cold. So, I didn't really get a lot of support in the real world. A lot of kids my age were mean to me. A lot of adults were mean to me. Even going through it now, a lot of adults weren't understanding. They were cold. I used to get called names by people, all the time. A lot of inconsiderate names, and people, treating me a certain way. So it was rough, but I was able, fortunately, to get into some situations in school where people were supportive, where I had teachers that were supportive, where I had friends who were very supportive. So, it definitely was, there definitely were some bright spots, but there were a lot of tough, dark times as well. So, I will say that, it definitely hasn't been easy consistently.
And I appreciate you being honest about your experience, because this is something that, you're 27, but I can see children still going through that now, what you're
Yeah.
saying. And when I worked in the school district, there were twins that were in this kindergarten class, and one twin knew how to read, the other twin did not know how to read. But the
Mhm.
teacher had no idea. And I was the one-on-one that was there for another child. But when you're a one-on-one and then you're also, you see also other children lacking, you kind of end up like, okay, well, let me try to get that child together. And then, come to realize I have to tell the teacher, like, this child probably needs, a one-on-one. But
Yep.
it was 20 kids in the class, and it
Yeah.
was
That's
only
rough.
the teacher. And it
Mhm.
was rough for her because, there wasn't a lot of support coming in for her. So it was rough watching. So,
Yeah.
it's hard to hear that that was my experience a year ago, and that was your experience probably like, 20 years or 15 years
Oh
ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It still is now
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah. So a lot of people don't a lot of people, including teachers in the education system, even though they are, introduced to the idea of teaching someone who's on the spectrum, a lot of them just don't know how to do it. And a lot of them just aren't comfortable, and they just don't know how to do it. Even if they want to know how to do it, they don't know how to do it. They don't even recognize it because it might not stand out to them. I have some people who are like, you don't look like you have autism. You don't sound like you have autism. And a lot of people are just ignorant when it comes to knowing about, the spectrum and the disorder. So a lot of people really don't understand that. They're just not educated enough, and they can't recognize it. So, I think that goes into the training that teachers and everyone in the education system need.
Yes, I agree. And I'm not sure if the school district, I mean, I'm pretty sure they do have, I believe, a special needs director or coordinator, but everything that you're saying, this is what I have said, because I went to the National Autism Conference in April
Oh,
and there
nice.
were no teachers there. Like,
Yeah,
and
that's
this
wow.
is
How ironic.
special. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just over
Yeah.
here like thinking, well, why wouldn't they get a bus and
Yeah.
bus?
Why wouldn't they get? Why wouldn't they go there? They need it the most. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's just like even the information that's out there, I'm not even sure if the people in place are even trying to really get the resources. And I'm a person that likes to be like, okay, well, if money is coming down for children that fall under this spectrum, we should be seeing where the money is going. And a lot of the
Mhm.
times you're not seeing where the money is going. And I'm
No.
pretty sure I've made some differences in my son's school when it comes to the things that they provide, because the things that they're now providing they should have had, because I'm sure he's
Mhm.
not the first child to have these things going on.
No.
So,
No.
it's kind of like, holding people accountable as well.
It is. There are a lot of people, that don't know what is going on. There's so much awareness that needs to be raised, and the fact that you said it yourself, the fact that there were no teachers there at that conference. Teachers are the one. Where do you think our kids are going to learn from? Where do you think teachers need it the most to help teach our kids? If our kids are not able to get taught by their instructors, and the instructors do not have any knowledge or any education on how to teach kids with mental health issues or on the spectrum, then that's going to make it hard for the kids. The kids won't be able to make the progress that they need, and that's not going to help out the parents either. The parents, their money is basically going to waste. So it really baffles me how, when you see that stuff as clear as day, where the people who need to take this stuff seriously are not even there to be informed and take it seriously. So that's the irony of that situation is incredible, and I don't understand it, and there's definitely stuff that needs to be done about it.
Yeah, it's a trickle down effect. Just like someone
Mm.
explained to me, like usually a school is very good if their principal. So like usually you can find a school that has good special needs support if that principal is pushing it. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, you can't just like, I didn't know I would have to be in a position where I have to like not just look at schools, but make sure the support is well. I can't even just look at like making sure the school is good. I have to make sure they care enough about, my
Oh
son,
yeah.
his needs, which limits everything even more.
It
So,
does. Yeah, there are a lot of factors that you have to look at. There's a whole variety of things that go into it. So, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I'd be lying if I said it's easy. And it's very, very difficult. There's a lot of things that go into it. It's anything but easy.
yeah. And I'm glad as we're going to segue into the next question. So, what would you want to tell children on the spectrum, children with other disabilities or developmental disorders, that they're seeing you, they're like, okay, I'm seeing someone like me. What would you want to tell them?
I would want to tell them, I mean, the obvious thing, you could always tell someone, yeah, don't give up, keep going, the real vague and general things. What I would say is apply yourself. You have to apply yourself to different things, a variety of things. You really need to put yourself out there and really look at, your interest and what you think you could be good at. And then once you narrow things down, and it's not even narrowing things down, try to be versatile. Try to look at a variety of things that you're good at and pursue them. You got to be persistent. You have to work hard. You're gonna encounter a lot of people who will tell you that you're not going to be able to do something because of you have autism, or because you're not going to be, people just don't think that you'll have the capacity to be able to process things, and you're going to have to keep going. You're going to have to be very perseverant. You're really just going to have to keep going and keep pushing yourself. Because the road will not be an easy one. At least it wasn't for me. And I was told no's a lot. I've been doubted before many times. I've been passed up many times. And, judged plenty of times, and you really need to have that inner confidence. Even if you don't have that confidence, you just need to keep telling yourself, you know what, I'm going to keep going. No one's going to stop me. You got to literally just keep telling yourself to keep going and to show yourself, not just other people, but to show yourself that you're going to be able to accomplish it. If you want something in this world, then go out and do it. There's no one that would be able to tell me like, hey, I'm not going to be able to do something. I wouldn't allow it. So, I took it upon myself to say, you know what, I don't care if you don't think that I can do something. I'm going to show you that I'm going to go out and do it. And if I can't do it, I'm not going to stop until I can do it. And I'm just going to keep working hard. It doesn't cost anything to just keep working hard, and to get good at something that you want to get good at. But you need to have that passion and that drive and determination. That is really the first and foremost thing that I would tell someone that has autism, or even someone that doesn't have autism. That's the number one thing that I would tell them.
I love it. Yes, I love it. So we're gonna go to the next question. So, what are your goals career wise? I mean, I feel like you've touched base on kind of how you've floated and done different things, and then you've talked about your clothing. But if you want to talk more about that, I know I wanted to put this out here so that people can go on YouTube and look at your show. Like, if you have any inspiration behind your show,
Mm-hmm.
Share with us your creative mind.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So my YouTube channel is the Kyle Woodland Show. I keep it original. I don't try to give any other fancy names or anything. I want you to know that it's me behind it. So I keep it very authentic. It's the Kyle Woodland Show on Instagram. It is called the KW Show. And, really what it has, we do episodes, we run events. So it's not just YouTube episodes. I'm running a fashion show on November 12th at the Victorian Banquet Hall in Philadelphia. It's from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. And I'm doing the show to raise awareness not only on the autism spectrum and mental health, but also on the fashion industry. The arts programs, a lot of fashion and arts, they're not getting enough money or funding to contribute to their cause. So I'm running the show, which will be a fashion show, which includes models from New York and Philadelphia, from designers all around the tri-state area. It's going to be on basically. Ooh. Hello?
Yes. I think
Oh,
it had
sorry.
for a little bit. He said it's gonna be on.
Yeah, it's going to be on, mental health awareness, in the fashion industry. A lot of models are having difficulty in the fashion industry, dealing with a lot of the stress. So I'm going to have a fashion show on that. We do episodes on mental health. We do episodes even on skits and parodies, just the whole 9 yards. I'm all about keeping it versatile. So, that's the one thing that I like to do,
Yes,
so
I
yeah.
love it. We're gonna have to keep having you back on here as well so that we can keep
Yep.
track of this empire that you, I mean, are clearly,
Yep. Yeah.
and keep track of it. And we would
Mhm.
definitely love to have you back on and just keep us updated on everything. And I'm very appreciative of everything that you shared. Is there anything that you would want anyone to know, any parents or therapists or teachers, or just your last kind of thoughts?
I do want to say this, also, before I go into that. Look at my clothing brand, the KWS Show. I'll drop the link and give it to you. It's a very good clothing brand that's partnered with Deneri Clothing. They were based in Miami, and the clothing is on autism awareness. We make so many different clothes, high fashion, streetwear, luxury, ready to wear. So look at that. But what I can tell the parents, the advice that I could give them, because, being a parent and hearing a doctor diagnose your kid with autism or anything, it could be really rough. And a lot of parents get worried. They're like, the road, ahead of them will be rough. What I will tell them is that, it's not a death sentence. It doesn't mean things will be, that much difficult. It will be hard, but it's not the end of the world. What you have to do is give your kids some one-on-one hands-on support. Look at schools that can help them with their writing, that could give them, that one-on-one treatment. One-on-one treatment is important, especially if you have autism. And just know that, your kid will be able to make progress. I wasn't talking like this or involved in as many things as I'm doing now when I was 4, when I was 5, when I was 10. I wasn't able to make that much progress when I was at that age. A lot of people thought I wasn't even able to get to where I am right now. But that does not mean that your kid won't be able to do that. So you really want to involve your kid in as many things as they can. You want to keep them busy and you want to keep them active. If you don't keep your kid active, it's going to be a long road ahead of them. You want them to keep working on themselves every day. Get them into programs. Get them into as many. So, one thing that I can honestly say, get them into as many things as you can get them into, and just keep pushing themselves, and don't think that they won't be able to make progress, that they'll just stay stagnant, because that's not true. So don't give up hope.
Thank you. I appreciate that because as a parent, what everything you said, it's a little different for me because I found out, or I kind of knew Austin had this going on before I received like the diagnosis and stuff like that. For me, I actually had to kind of fight for those diagnoses.
Mm,
It,
yeah,
they were
I know
saying
the feeling.
doesn't look like he has, what I'm saying? They were saying those things to me. And so, yeah, but
Doesn't look like it.
yeah, and I'm just like, and then I said the things that you said where I'm just like, but it's a spectrum. So like,
Yeah, it's
you
not just a one size fits all. Oh my gosh,
you may
yeah.
not have seen everything. And then, Austin goes through a lot of different things where he has a neurologist, we go through some other stuff where even once you get to a certain factor, I do have a black boy that a lot of the things that they base him on is data that is not necessarily for him. So then
Mhm.
they don't initially think that he has this problem until I'm like, or not necessarily a problem, but they don't think it's something until I'm like, no, it
Yeah,
is,
you
you
got
know,
to keep pushing it. You got to keep pushing it, because people just go off of the stereotypes and stuff, and that's
yeah.
a problem in and of itself that needs to be addressed and dealt with.
Yes, which I am also trying to push that as well. I was a part of kind of like a research process where they asked me questions about how they could push people learning about autism in the Black community because in
Mhm.
our community, um, it's like an ignorance because of not having the knowledge part.
Yeah,
So they were asking questions, and I'm like, maybe they can have some therapists have, show up in some churches or show up at a rec center. And I don't know, just show
yeah.
up where you have that information there. But I guess the problem is like people don't know, and
People
then
don't know. Yeah,
don't know. And then we rely on schools to know and to tell
yeah,
us. And they're almost so stressed out with everything going on. Like the last thing kind of on their
yeah,
mind is pushing out this information to parents that will ultimately make their jobs easier. If you think
yeah.
about it, if they do that. So
Yeah, no one's informing anyone. It's funny. It's like the last thing on their mind. I don't even think it's on their mind at all with everything that they're dealing with. So, I mean, yeah, it would be, all it takes is for people to get informed. If you get informed about something, then that's the first step to get the ball rolling. But if you're not informed about it, there's no way that you can make change. So, the hardest part of even starting this process is to simply just start, you know,
yeah.
just to start it. And you can take one step forward and start it by informing people and by having the willingness to be informed. So, yeah.
Yes, yes. I cannot. Well, we are getting close to our time here. I'm going to wrap it up, but I really enjoyed this interview. This is very powerful. I know that a lot of people are definitely going to benefit from the things that you have said. And I know you've been really busy, so we kind of did this last minute, but next time
Yeah.
I definitely can't wait to have you on here and be able to promote so more people will know. But
Mm,
I know this video, they're going to love this. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. And if you want to catch down here on the link, or there's not a link, but I'll have the link to this video here, but change.org/Philly Public Schools for Autism. If you can share it with anyone, anyone that I talk to, my son's therapist, my son's doctor, my insurance company, the guy on there. I'm spreading awareness to everyone because you never know. Oh, actually, you do know, but someone usually knows someone that has autism. And
yeah.
so even just sharing it with people is, you don't know how, who you're helping, even to
Yeah.
inspire that person to help someone else. So
Well, you
I
might not know.
appreciate
You
what
might
you're
not know. You could be around someone who actually, doesn't know, and then you could, find out something new. So yeah, you never know.
Oh yeah, and so to actually share because you said that, so I do Lyft, and I had a passenger, and we were talking about what I was doing, and I was explaining to her just different things about Austin, and she was explaining things about her child, and we were talking about adults because not a lot of people I feel like talk about like adults who
Mhm.
experience like autism, and then us not giving them the empathy or like the
Yeah.
certain sort of like. So after talking to her, she was like, you know what, you kind of made me realize maybe I need to like give this person in my life who's an adult, maybe I need to give them a little more empathy or think twice about certain
Mhm.
things because that makes sense. And it's just
Mhm.
like, the world kind of needs more empathy anyway, but once it really clicks, like,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
you're
For
absolutely
sure.
right about that. Yep. So
Mhm.
yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to add that little story on there.
No,
But
no, no. You needed to add it. That's important. People need to know. Yeah.
oh, thank you. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. I will have this up on YouTube. It is on the Facebook group page that we have, and I will send you that page as well, especially since you're from Philly. So having you on
Oh
that
yeah,
page
from Philly.
will be awesome too. So all right, thanks
Yeah.
everybody.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right.